Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Walsh, and I'm the Director of Support, Training, and Documentation for BNI Connect. I'd like to welcome everybody to the webinar today. Today's webinar is part of a 9-webinar series that we do on a monthly basis here in BNI Connect to help people learn more about all the different functionality in BNI Connect. We do webinars on all sorts of things, such as how to pass referrals online through BNI Connect, how to fill out your profile, the tools and reports that are available. This particular webinar is part of the Leadership Team series, and it's called How to Maintain Your Chapter Websites. And what we're going to do is to go into the Webmaster functionality, or the CMS system, Content Management System, in BNI Connect in order to show you, well, if I want to make some updates to my website and put my own content up there, how can I do that? So before we get started, just a couple of very quick housekeeping things. The first of which is that this is a live webinar. So all of you that are here today, if you have any questions whatsoever as you're going through the material today, please do feel free to ask those questions. I do see them immediately pop up on the screen, and I can answer them as we're going through any of the material today. We're scheduled for about a half hour. It takes about 30 minutes to go through the chapter websites from what I need to show you guys. That being said, I will stay on these calls all afternoon until every single question is answered, whether it's just about the websites or anything else in BNI Connect. I am always happy to answer those questions. So please, the only silly question is the unasked question. We are also recording this webinar, so you can go back and review it later, or if you have somebody in your chapter or somebody in your region, or somebody you'd like to help with the chapter websites, you can pass it along to them. It'll be hosted both on the support site, which you can access by clicking that question mark in the upper right-hand corner of BNI Connect, or you can go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. So let's jump in. So every chapter in BNI Connect has a chapter website. Now, BNI Connect's a pretty amazing thing. We're hosting, so not only is it this application, which is the, kind of the QuickBooks, if you will, and the LinkedIn for BNI, but it's also hosting and providing the data for about 80 country websites and another 900 regional websites and about 7,000 chapter websites. It is just a huge system. And all of these sites are customizable. It's kind of the best of both worlds. They pull live data from BNI Connect, so they're automatically updated with your chapter rosters and what day you meet, what time you meet, and your speaker rotation, and how much thank you for closed business your chapter has, as well as being able to be customized with your own graphics. So you can put pictures of your chapter up there. You can talk about your chapter. You can have like a blog going for your chapter or something like that if you want to. You can put links to your Facebook pages. All of that can be done through these chapter websites. Before we get into how to do that, let me show you a couple of examples. Now, if you're not sure where your chapter website is, the easiest thing to do is to go and look on your regional website. So to get there, again, easiest way, if you're not sure what it is, click on this button in the upper right-hand corner that says Regional Website. That'll take you to your regional website. So this happens to be my regional website. I am a member in the Rhode Island region. I'm a member of the Wakefield chapter. We meet on Thursday mornings. If you're ever here in Rhode Island, you're welcome to come and visit. If I want to get to my chapter page, I'm going to go and find a chapter. And then again, I'm in the Wakefield chapter. So let me do a search for Wakefield. Now, this right here that's coming up is the chapter details page. So it's just going to show the details of my chapter, who the director consultant is, and the phone numbers for the leadership team and all of the member profiles. However, we also have an actual chapter website as well. And the chapter website I can get to by clicking Visit Chapter Website. It does have its own unique folder name. So right now, I could also just tell people to go to bniri.com/Wakefield. So that option does exist as well. On this page, some things we really haven't done much with our own page. This is mostly the default, but it does have our thank you for closed business. All of this information along the left-hand side, so our current leadership team and who to get in touch with and what their phone numbers are and the ability to send them an email, all of that is pulled automatically from BNI Connect. We did add our Facebook link here. It will display your upcoming speakers for your chapter for the next month. You can also find your members page, and every member has a profile page as well. So all of this, again, chapters for a very long time have many chapters around the world. Oh yeah, the web person comes into the chapter. I'm going to build us a really awesome chapter website, and they do. They go out and they build an awesome chapter website, and then Bob leaves the chapter, and now he has to go up and take Bob off of the website, and then Jane joins the chapter, and he has to chase Jane down to try to get the information to put up on the chapter site, and it becomes a lot more maintenance than anybody expected. With this, you can work on just the content portion of it, and the actual maintenance piece of keeping track of the roster and addresses and phone numbers and all that kind of stuff can be taken care of automatically by BNI Connect. All right, so again, this is just our little silly Wakefield site. Let's take a look at a couple that have done some editing and some changing. One of my favorites, there's one called BNI Rugby, the BNI Rugby chapter, and they're in Warwickshire in the UK. And what they've done is they have made a really long page. So they put all their little social media stuff here, up there and up in the right-hand corner. But if we scroll down, they've added a ton of stuff, some fun pictures, some infographics and some videos, a link to register to visit one of their meetings. They have some quotes here, another video. They have their total of closed business, another video. So they've taken the approach of having a nice long website with tons and tons of information on there. They also have, you have a chapter gallery page where you can upload albums and pictures and things like that, as well as a chapter news page. So all of this information is available to you to update on your site. Let's take a look at another one. The Golden Ideas chapter is one I always turn to. The Golden Ideas BNI, and they are in San Francisco. So San Francisco, Golden Ideas, let's take a look at their chapter page. So they've gone with a 2-column approach. Relatively short page, but they have a map on here. They have a special message from their current president, a link to go and visit their chapter, which will take you to the sign-in page. What I think is interesting about their site, what they've done is on their chapter members, so this is the chapter roster here, they added some stuff to the header that I thought was really neat. And they gave the ability to sort their chapter by power teams. This is all custom coding, by the way. They did this themselves. So you'd have to be proficient in coding. But here we have, let's say that we want to see our business to consumers, and we want to see our health and fitness power team. This will display all the members in the health and fitness power team. So I thought that was pretty cool. So now how do we do that? How do we get into it to go ahead and update it? Now it's all done through BNI Connect. So as long as you have a BNI Connect login, you don't really have to go to a different place to do it. What you need to do is to log into BNI Connect, and if you have been assigned as the chapter webmaster, then you will have access to the tools menu. So we have here network operations, reports, tools, and admin. The CMS functionality is located under the tools menu. So if I go to tools, CMS, chapter websites. Now, if you don't have this, it means you haven't been given that permission yet. This is done by your regional office. Just give your director, consultant, or your regional admin or your executive director, give them a call and just say, hey, I'd like to be the chapter webmaster. Can you please make me the chapter webmaster? And sometimes you do have to go through additional training, or they might make you sign a leadership team agreement, but it's as easy as that. And once you are given the permission, you go to chapter websites, tools, CMS, chapter websites. And once you get there, you will see the list of all the chapter websites that you have access to updating. Now, I'm an administrator, so I get to see all of them. More than likely, you will only see the name of your chapter. So we're going to work with the BNI Burr chapter right now in Antarctica. in my Shiver region of Antarctica. So if I click on the link, it brings me to the page, and this is an out-of-the-box default chapter website, exactly what it looks like when absolutely no changes have been made to it whatsoever. If I go back, I'm going to click under Options. I'm going to click this Edit button here, and that will bring us into the chapter website pages. So let me go through the layout real quick of what this is. And what we'll see here, the first thing is the pages. You'll see it's broken into tabs. We have pages, library, and site information. The pages are all of the different pages you have on your site. You'll see we have the home page, the chapter members page, some sub-pages of that, the gallery page, and the news page. So if I go back to our website, we have our home, right? So that's home. We have our chapter members. That's our chapter members. So if I was to click on chapter members, this is now our chapter members subpage. We have our member details, chapter details, and send message pages. Then we have a chapter gallery and a news. So if I go back, we have news, but where's chapter gallery? Well, you'll notice down here, gallery is hidden right now. So until we show our chapter gallery, we won't have that tab there. Along the top, we also have these tabs. We have library and site information. Library is our image library. So if you want to get a picture onto your website, you need to upload it to the BNI Connect servers so that we can put it up on your website so we can serve that picture. Really easy to do. You do have to do this before you go and try to put the picture in though. So think about the pictures you want on your site and first upload them to your library. Just go to Library and Images and click the Upload button. And what this will do is you now are going to browse your computer for an image. So let me take a look here and grab some images. I'm going to go to my image folder here and let me grab this BNI Connect image and this help image and the visitor image. You can grab 3 of them at a time. I did that by holding the control button down on my keyboard. And I can then upload those images, and now these 3 images are part of my library, which means I'll be able to use them in my website. You can also upload documents you can link to as well as Flash files. Nobody really uses Flash that much anymore, hopefully, but when this was created, Flash was common. If you want to delete a file, you can always check off and choose delete. The next tab over is the site information tab. Now, most of this you really don't want to mess with, except for one thing on here is important, and that is the chapter folder name. Now, these are automatically generated sites, which means they're going to have an automatically generated name. So right now, the site for my Burr chapter, if you look at the URL up here, it's antarcticreferrals.com, so that's the parent site, and then it's shiver-region-bni-Burr. That's a really big mouthful of stuff to say. You can shorten that. So if I didn't want all this, I could just put in Burr. So I want this to be the BNI Burr chapter. So they would just go to antarcticreferrals.com/Burr. These other things you kind of want to keep as they are. These control the buttons. So see these buttons in the upper right-hand corner. And then the visit this chapter, that is the visit chapter link over here that brings you to the visitor registration page. You can change the name of that. And then if you'd like to do some analytics on your site, so you'd like to find out who's clicking on what and who's visiting and how long they're staying and which pictures they're looking at and so on and so forth, you can put in your own analytics code. So you do have to have, for example, a Google Analytics account in order to do that. All right, if you make any changes, for example, changing the folder name, click Update. Now, speaking of updating, one of the things about working on a chapter website is that when you're making changes to things on your chapter website, you're making changes on a back-end copy of the site. There's actually 2 copies of your site at all times. There's what's called a preview copy. That's the working copy, what you're making edits to. And then there's the live site, the preview site and the live site. So this preview site that's the copy I'm working on right now. That's all the HTML files and everything that I'm adjusting. But the rest of the world can't see that yet. They're just going and seeing your final copy. In order to move all the stuff you've been working on and get that to be live, what you need to do is publish your site. And we do that very easily by clicking the publish button. So again, all the changes, they're getting saved up on this backend copy. When I click publish, it's going to take it and it's going to overwrite the live site. There's no turning back at that point. Just hit publish. And now the only change that this is really going to make right now is the fact that I changed my URL. So now instead of being shiver-region-burr-, it's antarcticreferrals.com/burr. Let's take a look at the stuff we can do here on the pages. So now we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of it. How do we edit the pages themselves? For each page, you'll see some options. You'll see when it was last modified. You can edit the name of the page, which is essentially, if we look at our page again, that's changing this button name here. We can change the button name, Home, Chapter Members, and News. So let's say this Chapter Members page, let's say we didn't want that to say Chapter Members. Maybe we want that to say, meet our referral partners, something like that. I could submit that. All right, it has now saved that up. Now, if I go and I click the preview URL, it is now meet our referral partners. Note that the rest of the world, if they go to our site, only sees chapter members. It has not updated that change. For that, I need to publish the site. All right, meta tags. Meta tags are an art form. I mean, it really is. This is the SEO piece of it. Talk to a professional, talk to the person in your chapter. If you happen to do SEO already, you know way more about it than I do. But description, keywords, and meta tags, this will help you get found on Google. But really talk to a professional about that. They will be able to give you some good advice on what to put in here. And then we have edit content, which we'll get to in a second. But on this one, we also have show and hide. So right now, you know that the news is viewed on the site. We can hide that if we'd like to. And the gallery, which if you remember, the gallery is a photo gallery, a photo library for your chapter. If I want that to appear, I click show. And once I show that, one thing that will happen when you show the library or the gallery is that a new picture library will show up. You see now we have 4 tabs along the top. The gallery is where you can upload special pictures for the gallery, and it will put them in that kind of picture book format. All right, let's edit one of the pages. So the main page that you'll be editing most of the time is going to be the home page, that main page that people land on. So if I click on Edit Content, notice what just happened. When I clicked Edit Content, this opened in a new tab. So if you click this button or this link for Edit Content and nothing happens, your computer's not broken, BNI Connect's not broken. It just means that you have pop-up blocker turned on. So turn your pop-up blocker off for a second and you will be able to see that page pop up. So click Edit Content, a new page opens, and now we can go in and edit it. If you have ever worked with a Word document before, most of this is going to be familiar. And I know that we have a couple of executive directors. Thank you for joining us, Karen, and David on the call with us today. This is the exact same content for updating your regional websites as well, by the way. So we get here on this page. We can expand it out a little bit to see a little bit more. But really, all of this stuff here is, it's WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. We're updating essentially a big document. Now you'll notice that this is really the only area we can work with. There's certain parts of the page that we just can't access. Over here on the left-hand side, for example, if you recall, that's where it lists all of the chapter leadership team and the location of your chapter. That's all dynamic content that's being pulled from BNI Connect directly. So you can't actually update that information except by updating that information in BNI Connect directly. Same thing with the speakers. We can't edit the speakers here. When you update your speaker rotation, or rather when your secretary treasurer updates the speaker rotation, it will automatically appear on your chapter website. It's this content in the middle that we're going to start to edit. Now, note that there is one very special thing in here. It's called a tag. This pound TYFCB in lowercase is what pulls the thank you for closed business number from your POMS report and puts it on your website. That is the only tag or variable available right now. But if you'd like your number to appear there, make sure that that stays there or somewhere on the page. If you're in another country, you can also change this obviously from a $ to a pound symbol or yen symbol or whatever else you'd like to do. Most of the editing here is very simply just text editing. I can make things bold or italic or underlined or strike through. I can put in a, let's say, a bulleted list or a numbered list. I can change the font or change the style. I could change the size. You know, again, this is all fairly basic stuff that if you've, again, used some type of a word editing software in the past, should be fairly straightforward. A couple of things that may not be so obvious that are specific to web page editing. Links. Links are a very important part of web pages. So let's say that I have I'm just going to go to BNI website. Now let's say I want BNI website to be a link that goes to www.bni.com. What I need to do then is to highlight it and click this link. It looks like a chain link. From here, I can browse to go find it, copy and paste it, or just type www.bni.com. And what will happen is this should become blue and underlined. If anybody clicks that, they will then be brought to the BNI website. Another thing that's unique is adding graphics. Adding graphics is fairly easy as well, but you just go in, they're going to find the place to put it, and you click this picture button here. From here, I can browse the server. This is going to browse the library. This is why it's important to put up your images ahead of time before you come here. Otherwise, you got to back out and do it again. Let's say I want this BNI visitor or this support logo or something like that. Let's do the visitors. This is looking like it's going to be pretty big, so let me shrink that down a little bit, maybe a width of 200 instead of 300. That's looking a little bit better. I click OK, and now I have BNI visitor badge on there. Keep in mind that you can also link images. If I'd like this to bring them somewhere, when they click on it, I could highlight that and click the link button. And I can type in the name, let's say support.bniconnect.com. Okay, and then when they click that picture, it'll kind of work like a button. It will bring them over to the support page. If you're a web designer and you'd like to do things like embed a video on your page, you do have access to the source code as well. So if I click this source button, you can see that I have direct access to the HTML. You can copy and paste from here as well. One thing that a lot of people are doing nowadays is, putting a video. So let's say that I want to put a video on my website. You do have to host it somewhere, such as YouTube or something like that. And then let's say, I want to put the video. What I like to do is to, put a marker here. So if I want the video to display here, I'm going to do XXXXXXXXX, and that's going to tell me where I want my video. From there, I have to go to the source code. And I just need to copy and paste the embed code into this area here where the XXX is. So to do that, let me put this away for a second. I'm going to go to, let's say, youtube.com/BNI Connect Global. And let's say I want this, this education moment video on the site. I'm going to go to the share button. I'm going to take the embed code, copy it, go back to my source code, and that where I have the XXX, I'm just going to Control V and paste in this iframe code in its place. Now when I go back, you'll see that there's now this placeholder for the iframe. Now once I'm happy with how gorgeous the site looks, I'm going to go ahead and click Save. You can see it has my video in here. It gives me really what my site is going to look like. If I'm happy with this, I can close it, or I can go back and edit it some more. And I can go see what it looks like to the world. Oh, this doesn't look like my new site. Ah, that's right, I still have to publish it. So if I click the Publish button, that will allow me to overwrite my default site with my new site. And here's my gorgeous, updated, beautiful new chapter website. All right, we have a couple of questions that I see have come in. Let me grab those questions now. Andy says, what is the process for using a custom domain name using the CMS? So what you would do is you would still just have your site name would still be primarily pointed to antarcticreferrals.com/BRR, for example. And what you want to do is put in an A record or a pointer record on your custom DNS to then redirect to antarcticreferrals.com/BRR. So it wouldn't be pointed directly to the to the IP address of the web server. You would want to make an A record that points to the name of the site itself. Does that make sense, Andy? All right, hopefully that helped, Andy. David says, do you have pictures available for us to use in the gallery? I don't personally have pictures. I'm not sure what you're looking for exactly. I mean, there are some default images up in the library already, just some stock photography and things like that. I would say that anything that you can find, there's a site called bnibranding.com. That's probably safe to use. Yeah, the only other place I'd check is with maybe Anupa at headquarters, Anupa Charles Pierre. She is the branding coordinator right now at headquarters, so that might be another place to check for images like that. But personally, I don't have a library of stock photography or anything for BNI. Does that help, David? Andy says, I guess I missed the place to direct to the custom domain. So the place that you would do that is through wherever you bought the domain from. So this is also the reason why a lot of people, why headquarters doesn't encourage chapters to go out and buy domain names, because eventually the person that bought that domain leaves and nobody has access to it anymore. So if you need to regain access to, whether it's GoDaddy.com or whether it's Network Solutions or, wherever this site was bought from, you would need to get into the DNS editor there and create the A record to go to the website URL. Does that make sense, Andy? Unfortunately, I don't have much else I can offer with that one. Okay, so, I missed how you were able to use antarcticreferrals.com. So the executive director, so every executive director, they are the ones that buy the domain names for the entire region. So all of your chapters that are in your region, Andy, I don't know what region you happen to be in. For example, I'm in Rhode Island. Rhode Island and Cape Cod is a region of BNI. So my executive director, Brenda Curry, 20 years ago when she bought the BNI franchise, she bought BNIRI.com, BNIRhodeisland.com. So she's the one that sets that up in BNI Connect, and then each chapter has a subdomain, or really a subfolder within that domain. So that wouldn't be anything that you set up. But Andy, if you tell me where you are, I can tell you what region you might be in. Or I can look you up if you don't mind. Okay, so you're in South Louisiana. So let me tell you what your domain is, all right? Give me 1 second. All right, so you're here. I'm assuming this is you. All right, so you're in Louisiana Northern. Right, so that's, yep, BNILouisiana.com. So right now under your chapter, okay, so vermillionchapter.com. Yeah, so for that, again, that's outside of BNI Connect. So if you were in, if your chapter was to go out and buy, I don't know, my chapter, for example, if I was to go buy bniwakefield.com, I would have to go to that hosting company, log into that site, change the DNS, and point it to bniri.com/Wakefield. And that means that would redirect it. Anybody that went to BNI Wakefield would be redirected to bniri.com/Wakefield. But your regional office, if you don't currently own mychaptername.com, talk to your executive director. Most executive directors nowadays are buying them themselves for you to use, so that you don't run into a situation where somebody else owns it and they leave and you don't have access to it, et cetera, et cetera. So does that make sense, Andy? I know it's kind of long and complicated. I apologize. Right. So Andy says confusion isn't showing as a redirect on theirs, it's showing as the custom one. So I'll tell you what, we do have an actual website expert on the team. Like, I know enough to be dangerous on the front end and stuff like that. Frank Ruiz, he is on our support team. He is our CMS expert. If you want to, shoot an email to me, please, support@bniconnect.com, support@bniconnect.com. vermillionbni.com. So what did I get wrong here? Did I spell it wrong? Okay. But shoot me an email here, support@bniconnect.com. I'll get that over to Frank, and Frank can look into this one a little bit deeper with you, if that's okay. All right. Any other questions? Does anybody have any questions at all? I'd be happy to help you out. We are at the bottom of the hour. I do understand if you do have another appointment to get to, you need to leave right away, please feel free to do so. But thank you so much for spending some time with me today and dedicating this to doing some learning and helping your chapter out. Please do remember to submit a CEU for this as well. Go to the home page and click on Submit CEU and give yourself 1 credit for being on today's webinar. This is being it is being recorded, and it will be uploaded to our BNI Connect Global Facebook page as well as on the support site. All right, David says, how do we add chapter Facebook pages linked to the chapter website? So this one is very similar to adding the embedding a video. What you do need to do is you need to go and get a widget for that. Most of the time, Facebook and LinkedIn and all of them have a predefined one that you can use. So you would go and the easiest thing is just to Google Facebook widget, something like that. So the Facebook plugins, so right here it'll have the Facebook developers plugins page. like box, things like that, where you can find one of these. And they have a number of different ones. For example, you can control the height, the weight, what you're going to use, a small header or a hide a cover photo, whatever little options you're going to put along with that. And from there, it will generate a code for you. And you just want to copy and paste the code into that source code of BNI Connect. So you'd copy this, you'd go back to your page, go to the source code of the page, and you're going to paste that into it. But you do have to generate it at the time, because it's going to put things like, the name of your Facebook URL and everything, and it's going to generate the code unique to where you're being redirected to. Does that make sense, David? So again, I'd go to, let's say, my home page, go to the source code, and I would just add that into my source code. I don't know if I grabbed the right one. I was going kind of quick there. So this one is actually just a link to the BNI Connect global page. That didn't do exactly what we were looking for, but once you play with it, no, that's because I just grabbed this right here. Long story short, once you get that going, that is how to do it. All right. Oh, Dave says he's got it. Sorry if that was just about as clear as mud. All right. Do we have any other questions? One question I always get is, can we add pages? So, for example, can I add additional tabs or pages along here? Unfortunately, no. We can't add any pages except for the ones that are there. That being said, theoretically, like the gallery or the news page, you might be able to repurpose those pages for other things, but we can't add any pages right now. So we are limited to these particular pages on the site. David says, glad you're recording so we can go back in and replay it again in slow motion. So yes, it definitely makes it easier to go back and just replay it until we're able to get it. And you may want to just try it with the Facebook plugin as well. It does take a little configuration. Cool. Any other questions? All right, if there's no other questions, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much. A good referral for me, if you'd love to help me out, a good referral for me is to please let people know about these webinars. If you go to the support site, hit the question mark. This is our support site. It has all sorts of guides and walkthroughs, but most importantly, right at the top of the screen has our upcoming webinars. And if you could let people know about these webinars, tomorrow is our last webinar of this month, and that is the online renewals. Then in February, we're going to start up the series all over again. So we're going to go through the whole new member series, completing your profile, giving and tracking referrals, connecting with other members, tools and reports, and inviting visitors. We're going to do that the week of February 15th, 3 o'clock every day. We're going to go through the whole series, a half hour each. The following week, we're going to go through this leadership team series, which is the goals for leadership teams, tools and reports, web pages, and online renewals. That will be the third week in February, the 22nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. So again, good referral for me. Please publicize these, let people know about them, and I'd love to have more and more people on the webinars. And Tucker says, great help and insight as always, thank you. Derek says, thank you. This information was greatly helpful. I was inducted as a member last week and I've been loving reviewing the recorded and live webinars. Derek, thank you so much for being here, as well as N. Tucker and Karen and David and Derek and Jason, Andy, all the other people here on the webinar as well. I do look forward to seeing you on a future presentation. Have a great rest of the week, everyone. See you in February and happy connecting.